My name is Bill Kirst. I work for IBM, based in Washington, D.C. I'm a change management consultant in their public sector, so federal space, and I've been there 5 years. A change management consultant I like to describe as someone who comes in and helps a person or an organization manage any sort of change. So for example, a lot of times it may be an information technology driven change, or it can be a cultural change. And it's my job to come in, help them communicate those changes out, go through the organizational development changes. And really I like to tell people, I get paid to come in and tell people everything's going to be all right. So I really enjoy it. So I first came out at work on September 21st, 2011, which has significance because it was the first day that Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed. I'm also, in addition to being an IBMer, I'm also an officer in the U.S. Army Reserve. So it was very significant for me on that day. Having been with IBM for 5 years, I knew where we stood on policies of diversity. I knew we were at the tip of the spear in driving a lot of change in this area, but I couldn't be myself, primarily because I was in spaces with clients that were military and federal. I wasn't always sure if I was my entire self, what they would do with that information, and one can never be too sure. So I followed the letter of the law, and I didn't come out at IBM until Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed. It was an amazing day. Within 24 hours of coming out, and I did it in a way of sent around an email to my managers. I introduced myself on a community. I had over 185 emails returned, people saying, "This is wonderful, we celebrate you." Don't Ask, Don't Tell was just a news item to me until I got your post. I'm excited to meet you. I want to know your perspective. I was overwhelmed. I was expecting to be embraced and celebrated. It was, the enormity of it is still, it still leaves me a little bit speechless. Yeah, so they have, ERG is actually a new acronym for me, which is kind of exciting, because coming from a military background, it's all acronyms. Then you put in the LGBT and then the ERG, so I'm pretty well versed in acronyms. I joined a community online. It was sort of our LGBT IBMers and friends, and that was the first step for me to get involved in that community. They do have chapters around the world as well, so I'm excited to get involved with the chapter back in Washington, D.C. There's a global diversity council. Many of the folks that are here at this conference I've met, and I know that next year's conference is going to be in Baltimore right up the road for me, so I am definitely getting involved. So IBM is very keen on diversity training, and every year we're required to take one topic on diversity. It can range from everything from ageism to disability to transgender. So naturally, I gravitated towards taking some of the diversity training around GLBT, primarily because I wanted to really find out what was out there. And I was looking forward to the day when I could participate entirely and wholly, not just from the sidelines. So being at a conference like this takes it fully forward, where it's not just a webinar, it's not just a conference call, but I'm actually meeting people, engaging with people, hearing their stories. And I'm going to take that back. One of the things I've definitely agreed to do, excited about, is taking this back and do a debrief about what it meant to be at Out and Equal, who I met, the stories I heard, and how we can continue to improve. Because I think I'm sitting here is a representation of progress, but there's a lot to be done on a lot of topics, and so I'm excited to be a part of that. So I first heard about Out and Equal through a fellow IBMer years ago, and I believe he went to the GLAAD Awards on behalf of IBM. He'd also gone to Out and Equal. My partner is also the president of the LGBT Bar Association, so I've been participating in this space for a while, again from the sidelines. So in his conferences for gay and lesbian lawyers around America, I got to see conferences like this, specifically about legal issues, which are very important as well. When I came out at IBM and I heard that I was invited to the Out and Equal conference, I don't think I realized the enormity of it. I knew it was a conference to bring together Fortune 500 companies and allies and nonprofits to talk about these issues. When I got here, I was really, really, really amazed at the number of people, the breadth of experience, and how many, really the allies portion and the family and friends has truly touched me. I've given a lot of hugs this week. I've cried, I've laughed. the healing through the sharing is something I will never forget.